Welcome back, our dear viewers. Today is a very important day for Egypt. We are celebrating the 44th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day. And this day marks the day when the Egyptians restored all their land back. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined here in the studio by our very prominent guest, General Mohamad Shahawi, our strategic expert. A very good morning to you, General Shahawi.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. A very important day today, of course. We succeeded 44 years ago to regain all our land back. The significance of such a day for the Egyptians, General Shahawi.
First, it is such an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to be with you in the breakfast show. And I want to say that Egypt liberated its land, which it occupied in 1967 by all means of struggle, by armed struggles in the Attrition War and the glorious October War. In addition to that, by political and diplomatical means, beginning with the arduous negotiation to separate forces in 1974 and 1975. After that, the Camp David talks that led to the framework peace in the Middle East, which called Camp David Accord in 1978. After that, signing a peace treaty between Egypt and Israel in 1979. After that, the Sinai liberations on April 25th, 1982. After that, we restored the last spot in Egypt, 1 square kilometer only Taba, by international arbitration. And I want here to concentrate that the Egyptians fought two wars. The first war by weapons such as planes, tanks, cannons, and artillery. The second one by tensions and nerves that lasted 3 years from signing the treaty in 1972 until the liberation of Sinai in 1982.
Yes.
And until we reached what we call the Plea-Yamit. Plea-Yamit is a Hebrew word for a settlement called Yamit, and means on the seashore, where 3,000 Jewish extremists gathered and declared mass suicide every half an hour if the government, Israeli government didn't back down from its decisions to withdraw. But negotiations and contacts carried out, and the youth extremists gave up the imaginary suicide.
Indeed. Sir, we need to learn more about the visit by late President Anwar Sadat to Israel, which was, of course, a surprise for everyone when we listened to his decision to go to Israel by himself and, of course, making his speech in the Knesset.
The visits of our hero, the hero of war and peace, Anwar Sadat, is considered one of the most important methods to liberate the land. After we move the issue, after we cross the Suez Canal and demolish the security of national security theory for the Israeli, I think this step is paved the way to contract about the Camp David Accord and the peace treaty in 1972 by this step. If this step doesn't happen, I think Sinai is still until now, and the conflict is also rising until now, as we say in Golan and in Western Bank and in any place that occupied by Israel. But the strength of the Egyptian armed forces, this make the liberation of Sinai is available.
Yes. Sir, we always hear from the military officials that there is no peace or there is no diplomacy without having a strong army. How that was represented to a great extent by our victory, our military victory, then of course the Camp David agreement.
I think strength is considered something to save the country, and the weakness is calling for aggression. For that reason, when you can strong and you have armed forces rank the 12th all over the world according to global firepower,
Of course.
and our Navy is in the rank of the 6th over the world, and the special forces are in the first rank before the United States and Russia. For that reason, if you want to be secure, you have to prepare yourself for peace. And I think Sinai, and when we celebrate with the 44th anniversary of this occasion of this year on April 25th, I think we have to greeting all our martyrs and heroes, greeting the spirits of the late President Mohamad Sadat, the hero of peace and war, and also everyone who helps in restoring Sinai.
Indeed, many sacrifices were made by our great army personnel and the army leaders who sacrificed their lives for the sake of our nation. Sir, we'll go to watch this report about Egypt marking the 44th anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day.
Egyptians celebrate on April 24th the 44th anniversary of the liberation of Sinai. It is the day the Egyptian flag has been raised on the land of Sinai after the complete liberation. It is a wonderful national epic that reflected the heroism of liberating Sinai by war at one time and by negotiations at other times. It is also a source of pride for the Egyptian nation and a milestone in the Egyptian history from which generations learn. Sinai is the crossing of the prophets, and in its holy valley, Allah Almighty talked to Prophet Moses. Its land was honored to receive the Holy Family in search of safety. Allah Almighty swears by the Mount of Sinai. The name Sinai has been mentioned in the Holy Quran to be mentioned and recited until the end of time.
Welcome back. As we have been talking, General Shahawi, that of course 44 years did pass since the liberation of Sinai. What is the historical importance of this very important event for the Egyptians?
Sinai's liberation is the most profound modern national victory. These occasions ended the occupation of Sinai for 15 years after 1967 war, and proved that Egypt restored its land by both war and peace. On October 6, 1973, the Egyptian armed forces defeated what we call an invincible Israeli army. And also while 1979 and the international arbitration proved that Egypt's ability to win at the negotiating table too. And politically, this occasion is restored the national dignity and closed the lost land file. But economically, it returns 60,000 square kilometers of territory, holding oil, gas, and also minerals, and 700 kilometers of shore or coastlines.
Sir, how this very important event, of course, is sensed by the new generation, and how we should let the new generation value and cherish this very special occasion?
Yes, I think we have to tell the story of Sinai. And we have to say to every citizen in Egypt that to visit, invest, and tell the story of the sacrifices. And we restore all spot all inch on a grains of sand by war and peace. And also Sinai's geography is its economy. We know that Sinai controls Gulf of Suez, Gulf of Aqaba, Suez canals, which revenue $10 billion.
Yeah.
And also we have what we call about economic potential. Economic potential for Sinai, where 30% of Egyptian petroleum was in Sinai. And also we have coal, we have marble, we have silica for glass and solar industries. A tourism potential, it is considered as a world-class coral reef. And also in Sinai we have 360 days sun. And we have religious sites in addition to mountain and desert landscape. In conclusion, Sinai holds 40% of Egypt's hotel capacity, and also it participates with 30% of tourism revenue. I think this is a strategic value of Sinai.
Yes. Sir, also the return of Sinai witnessed many phases. The first, of course, our military victory in 1973, then the visit by late President Anwar Sadat to Israel, the Camp David Agreement, and of course the international arbitration for the return of Taba.
Yes.
So how did you see this, these stages, and how did you see our success in the return of Taba?
I think all the Egyptians shared in the restoring of Taba. The armed forces, it has played a great role in what we call about liberations of Sinai from the Israeli occupation, and also about your youth and the armed forces. It decontaminates Sinai from terrorism, and everyone. And also we have the engineering authority of the armed forces, which is supervising 1,100 civilian national companies with 5 million engineers, technician workers, and also manufacturers who shared on establishing about the development in Sinai. And this proved that Egypt, as it liberate its land, it also build any inch in Sinai also. And this for the new generations to know about the sacrifices of our armed forces and our people also.
Yes, sir. Sir, could you please shed more light on the sense of belonging and the national unity that were released after the war and the victory and our restoring of our land?
We have to feel with pride and dignity, because we have restored our national dignity. And also Sinai is very important to everyone of Egypt, because Sinai is in the heart of the Egyptian people. For that reasons, we have to visit Sinai, to invest in Sinai, to tell its story, and we have to say that Sinai is open, Sinai safe, Sinai is Egyptian, and for that reasons we have to celebrate these occasions about the 44th anniversary of the Sinai by supporting the development project. And I wanted to concentrate that the Egypt made a lot of projects, because Egypt fought terrorism by development through 360 projects costing 480 billion pounds. For that reasons, we have to be proud for this occasion.
Yes, sir, you have raised a point here that we'd like to discuss. The new war against terrorism that Egypt did launch throughout the past years, since the terrorists were trying to take over Sinai and to develop the terrorist cells there. But our great army succeeded again to defeat these terrorists, and Sinai is fully restored from any terrorist threats. And how do you see this very important war as well that our great army did win?
Sinai is very important location as geopolitical and strategical location because, as I said before, it is controlled the Suez of Aqaba, Suez of Gulf of Suez and the Gulf of Aqaba and the Suez Canal. And this is very important place. We have to defend it, and there are a lot of people who want Sinai. Sinai is always under aggressions from several times. But
since ancient times.
Yes. And it was a land of battles and a road for armies. And as it was an invaders, they are symmetry for them. For that reason, we have to defend every inch in Sinai by development it.
Yes.
And this is my message to all the new generations. Visit and invest and tell the story of Sinai and how we restore Sinai by soldiers' blood and by builders' sweat after 1982.
Yes. So how do you assess the efforts exerted to combat terrorism and to start the developing process at the same time in Sinai, which did happen to a great extent during the past few years?
I think the armed forces through the comprehensive operation Sinai 28, they eliminated the organized terror. There is no terror. I want here to say some statistics that from 1914 to 1917, there more than 1,300 terrorist operations. But now it is zero incident.
Yes.
And from 1917 is zero incidents of terrors in Sinai, and especially South Sinai, because we have to succeed in making a vision in the next decade for Sinai.
Indeed.
By developing it, by making a lot of national projects, by establishing the planned Arish Taba railway, which will become Egypt's export hub to Levant and the Gulf and all the Asian countries, and also about what we have to develop our St. Catherine to be Vatican of the East, and its interfaith center and the cable cars, and also about 1 million pilgrims visits this important place.
Yes.
So development is the first line to prevent Sinai from any aggression.
Yes, indeed. Sir, could you please shed more light on the role of the Egyptian army here when it comes to stabilizing Sinai and paving the way for the developments that we were just talking about and the great achievements that we did achieve throughout the past year? And it is no secret that the Egyptian administration did pay great attention to the development of Sinai.
I think this is very important question because the armed forces carried out these missions through 3 stages. The first stage is security. Security by deploying what we call about border guards and the mine 19 million square meters from mines, and also about secure zone C according to Camp David Accord, and this made resources available. The second stage for achieving these missions about the role of the armed forces is fighting terrorism through the comprehensive Operation Sinai 28, which eliminating the organized terror. In addition to that, we have the armed forces made 3,000 kilometers to separate and isolate terrorism from the safe area in the South Sinai. And as I said, zero terror incident in South Sinai since 1918. And also about the third stage is development, and the armed forces was the what we call about master developer, which executed the Suez Canal tunnels. We have 6 tunnels under the Suez Canal to reduce the time to cross from west to east to 15 minutes also. Also, the establishment of route of Sharm el-Sheikh, which it has length of 342 kilometers. In addition to that, the establishment of 18 desalination plants and power grids and many projects in this place. I think the engineering authority of the armed forces supervises 1,100 national companies with 5 million engineers and workers, and they facilitate the carrying out the national project, and it is very important for them because they have execute this project with the international standards, and there is speed in carrying out the national project.
Indeed. Can you tell us, sir, about the vision planned for Sinai in the next decade in terms of tourism and development? You have mentioned great achievement that the Egyptian administration did do during the past years. What's next from your point of view for Sinai regarding the development of the tourism sector as well?
From my point of view, I think Sinai 2035 targeted. Number one, we have to reach 20 million tourists a day. Second, we have to change St. Catherine to a Vatican of the East with interface center and a cable car and also 1 million pilgrims. In addition to that, we know that the second and the third field armies, they secure Sinai to be safe. And until now, there is no any terror incident until now in Egypt. For that reason, I think tourism in Sinai reaches to 50% of GDP. GDP means gross product, gross domestic product. The tourism provide or contribute 15% of the GDP, and tourism in Sinai, half of them. For that reasons, I think the vision is very important. In addition to that, I think Sharm el-Sheikh will be 100% renewable. And we have a single plastic ban. There is no plastic bags. It is banning in Sharm el-Sheikh, and also about what we call we have a carbon neutral airports in Sinai. For that reason, I think these visions will be very important to reach 20 million tourists a day in Sinai.
Yes, hope so, General Shahawi. What about the message the Egyptian leadership is sending to the Egyptians and the whole world with the development process taking place in Sinai? And of course, we have seen the importance given to Sinai by our administration and our leadership.
Before I wanted to answer about the messages.
Yes, please.
To the Egyptian and the international community, I think I wanted to shed a light about the lesson learned from these occasions.
Yes.
44th anniversary of Sinai. The first lesson is that the future of nations can only be achieved through sacrifices and the blood of martyrs.
Indeed.
The second message is also Egypt has a strong army. It is the 12th ranked around the world. And this army is the sword and the shield of the nations. The third message, the third lesson also, is that the Egypt's leader and its army knew the national sovereignty and about the sanctity of the national soil. And they never seeds a grain of sand from it, as also they rebuilding and make a lot of projects. But if we wanted to go to the message, the first message to the Egyptian peoples,
yes,
I want to say that Sinai was liberated twice. First by soldiers' blood, second by builders' sweat after 1882, restoring Sinai.
Yeah.
And also every hotel, every road, every airport, every tunnel, any project on the land of Sinai stands on sacrifices of martyr or martyr sacrifices.
Indeed.
And also, this I wanted to say that it proves that never seeds any grains, and also never stop building after the battle. But my message
Yes, sir.
to the international community, I want to say Sinai is a case study from war to peace to prosperity, and prove that we have honors our treaties, secures our border, and also we have defeats terrorists and make Sinai open to welcome all the world. So they have to come to visit, to invest, to explore. And Egypt's message is simple. We turn conflict into cooperation and turn sand to opportunity.
Yes, indeed, and we continue our coverage on the Sinai Liberation Day as we mark the 44th anniversary. A short break, and after that we'll be back to continue our coverage. Speech by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi marking the 44th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day. In his address to the nation marking this very special occasion, the President saluted the souls of our great martyrs who sacrificed their lives for the sake of the nation, and saluted the soul of late President Mohamad Anwar Sadat. Also, he thanked the team of the arbitration who were keen to and were the reason for the return of Taba and our full restoration of our land. Also, the President said that despite all the challenges that we are facing due to the regional challenges and regional crises, Egypt is continuing its path towards development and economic development, and he said that the only path for stability in the region is through diplomacy and dialogue. And also we will, the Egyptian administration will always be keen on restoring and continuing to restore our unity, stability, to keep our unity and stability and sovereignty, and of course they are working for a better future for our sons and daughters and our great nation. And of course the President said that the pressure made on the Egyptian citizens due to the current challenges that the world is facing is greatly felt by the Egyptian administration. And of course Egypt is always keen on the stability and unity and keeping the stability in our neighboring countries, and that peace must prevail in the Gaza Strip, and the entry of humanitarian aid to the Strip, and the total rejection to any displacement of the Palestinians is always high on our priorities. And of course the President greeted the Egyptians on this very special occasion, which is the 44th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day. To shed more light on the President's speech marking the 44th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day, we continue here our interview with our very dear guest, General Mohamad Shahawi, our strategic expert. A very important speech by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi marking the 44th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day, during which, of course, the President greeted the Egyptians on this very special occasion and saluted the souls of the marchers, our great soldiers, and of course the hero of October, late President Mohamad Sadat.
The president's speech today on the 44th anniversary of Sinai liberation, it has a lot of message today. And he first saluted the souls of our martyrs who shed blood to liberate the land and restore dignity. The second greeting is for the soul of the late President Mohamad Sadat, the hero of war and peace. And also he sent a message that we have to maximizing the comprehensive strength of the state and consider it as a top priority. In addition to that, he said that Egypt always do what we call the de-escalation in the Middle East region.
Indeed.
And he condemned, the first important message also, he condemned the Iranian aggressions on the Gulf state.
Indeed.
And the national security, Egypt's national security is connected with the Arab national security, especially the Gulf countries. For that reason, I think this is very important speech today to salute everyone who built a stone in the development of Sinai, and also express about that we restore Sinai by soldiers' blood and by builders' sweat. For that reasons, and it's very important word to say that restore Sinai from terrorism by development. We build a lot of important or mega project costing 480 billion pounds at this occasion.
Yes.
Also, he said that to support or to celebrate about the anniversary, 44th anniversary, we have to be one hand stand with our government and our leadership, and also we have to build a lot and exert about the efforts and the sweat to make long live Egypt, long live Egypt, long live Egypt.
Indeed. It's always our slogan here that Egypt is, of course, always is our main, is our priority, and the national security of Egypt is our top priority, our unity, our sovereignty. The President said that we are continuing our development, we are continuing our economic reform program, yet we are doing that in spite of all the challenges that we are facing in the region due to the Iranian war, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which is, of course, costing us a lot due to the increase in the energy prices, and of course, the Ukrainian war. We are facing many challenges on the international front and on the regional front. So what's your take on that and the efforts that we are exerting in spite of all these challenges?
Egypt exerts a lot of effort to de-escalate the violence in the Middle East, especially the war between Israel, the United States, and Iran. And there is a negotiation tomorrow, maybe a negotiations between Iran and United States, and there is no conflict to continue forever. No, the conflict, it has to change and to buffer and to ease, to be political and diplomatical means, and Egypt and the foreign ministers of Egypt, Dr. Badr Abdel Ati, always he support all the Gulf states. Also, he also call for the escalation in this area, our area, and the president today also expressed about strength is a source of safety, while weakness is invites to aggression, and if you want peace, you have to prepare for war. For that reason, our armed forces is in full capacity for readiness and effectively, and as I said before, the armed forces in the rank of 12th rank all over the world according to global firepower.
Also, the president in his speech talked about the situation in Gaza and the importance of the reconstruction of Gaza, the importance of the entry of humanitarian aid to the people in the Strip, and of course the continuation of the peace process there. So how do you see the importance of this file for Egypt, which of course is of top priority, and it has always been the case and still, of course?
As we know that the Palestinian issue is the first issue for Egypt.
Indeed.
And Egypt, from the Al-Aqsa flooding on 7th of October 2023, made a lot of things from political conferences, and also giving a humanitarian aid by many means, by what will come, and about airplanes. They can send a humanitarian aid to them. Egypt consider this issue. When it's settled, I think all the conflict in the Middle East will ease and will end. For that reasons, he expressed and he concentrate about the de-escalation, and also about we have to give a hand to our brothers in Palestine from about political support, and also about humanitarian aid, and about reconstruction plan, which Egypt made this plan, and all the Arab League and the United Nations is agree about it.
Yes, indeed. Sir, also how Egypt was affected due to the economic situation, because of course of the current instability, the current crises in the region, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which did lead to the increase in the energy prices. The president is always keen on telling the people that in spite of the fact that we are facing some hardships and some pressure imposed on the citizens due to these repercussions, yet the administration is feeling that and is trying to solve the issue as soon as they can. How do you see the importance of this message that the president was keen on talking about in his address today?
We know there are a lot of challenges faces Egypt. We have 12 challenges as internal challenges, and the 9 challenges as foreign challenges. One of the challenges of the inner challenges is about economic. And Egypt make a lot of things to improve the economy. And we know that we have a lot of many mega projects that Egypt did it for the welfare of the people. For that reasons, we have to work and work hard to stabilize about our economy and to push it forward.
Yes. In a quick recap, General Shahawi, what are the most important points that, from your point of view, that the President was keen on tackling today and to share with the citizens as we are marking the 44th anniversary of the October War victory? And of course, this anniversary is coming amid great challenges that the nation is facing due to the international crises that the world is facing as well.
I think the most important point is he calls the people to maximizing all the comprehensive strengths of the states and make it as a top priority, and to work hard to make our economy is flourishing.
Indeed, General Mohamad Shahawi, our strategic expert, thank you so much. And can you leave us here with a message to the Egyptians on this very special occasion, especially the young generation who maybe did not witness by themselves the victory of October, but yet they have to feel the great achievements that Egypt and our great military did achieve before.
My message to the new generation is Egypt restored Sinai by soldiers' blood and by builders' sweat through the mega project in North Sinai and the South Sinai. Because I think this project make a lot of opportunity for deployment for the youth. And also, I think that all the new generations go to visit to tell the story of Sinai, and our message is Sinai is safe, Sinai is open to all Egyptian and all the international community.
Indeed, General Mohamad Shahawi, always a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you so
you.
much for your precious input.